Hi everybody, this is Aaron from Sibling Rivalry, and today we're going to be unboxing the Sidewinder X1, which is a new 3D printer, well, new to me, from Evnovo or Artillery 3D. So stay tuned for that.
That can make copies of almost anything.
Alright, so if you're not familiar with the Sidewinder X1, it is a large format printer similar to the CR10 or the CR10S. It has a 300 by 300 millimeter build plate with a 400 millimeter Z-axis. Come on up, Duncan wants to be on the camera, but I don't think he realizes that the box is in the way. So, yeah, it has silent step drivers as well as a heated glass build plate. It's like a Pro Tack or something like that build plate. It's essentially a laminated build plate. It has a direct drive extruder that is essentially equivalent of a E3D Volcano and an E3D Titan. So it should allow us to do some really cool stuff at a large scale with flexible filaments and regular filaments. The reason that we're getting this printer, or that we got this printer, is to kind of expand on our production for our Etsy store. So if you're not familiar with that, check the link down below and use the coupon code ILOVEKOALAS for 10% off. And yeah, if you hear noise in the background, that's just our two King Rune printers going crazy, printing off parts for themselves and parts for customers. So yeah, let's get started on this. I've got a X-Acto knife here, so I'm just going to slice this open. We probably won't do an assembly today, just because that might just be easier just to do off camera and then go over afterwards in like a first look sort of review. So I think Duncan's a little upset that I didn't keep him up on the couch with me, but I don't want to accidentally prick him with a knife or something. I love him too much. He's my little buddy. Okay, so almost got all of it. It's just this little bit right here. There we go. Now this is a fairly new company for 3D printing. They only have two models on the line. They've got the Sidewinder X1 and the Genius. They're both very similar. The Genius just has a smaller build area. I'm going to stand up for this. And this has a nice formed cardboard, like these cardboard inserts. They're kind of like the hard, almost composite wood. So, and the packing material seems pretty good quality here. Just going to try and set these down. Too loud. There's the foam. It's got a nice shaped foam set of inserts to hold everything in place. And here is the spool holder, which mounts to the top. It also has a filament runout sensor. Looks like it's an improved version of the one on the King Rune. The King Rune one just uses a tactical switch, like a little micro switch. I'm gonna just take a quick video of this for you guys. So if you can see in there, it looks like it's got a liner. So it might be like the Prusa filament runout sensors where they use a optical switch, which is something I was thinking of doing on the King Rune, because the mechanical switch has a tendency to bind up like crazy. So I'm going to set this aside here. We've got our instruction manuals. It looks like read me first, checklist for quality control, quick 2-page manual on how to assemble and set up your printer. Whew. I'm just going to move this table a little bit. make sure everything's in shot. Just trying to figure out how to unpack this. I'm sure someone's screaming at me out there. Another user manual. Set my phone down here. Some power cables. It's just a standard, like I think it's an IDC cable. So came with a nice little nylon tool bag. Let's see what we got. USB drive, which the cool thing about this printer is you can use SD cards like micro SD, or you can use a USB drive to print with it. So that's handy. And apparently this USB drive has all the files on it to set up your printer. We've got some spare parts here. Nozzle, PTFE liner, some wheels, and this actually has a G-code controlled RGB LED, so that you can use that for status reports. It's on the extruder. It also comes with some spare cables. This printer uses ribbon cables rather than like just a bundle of wires. There's some screws to assemble it here, and yeah, just some general tools, some Allen keys, and a nice 8mm and 10mm spanner. So, let's set that over here and figure out which part to pull out next. Feels like that's the part. Yep. So this is the Z and the X axis. As you can see there, that's the ribbon cable. And the cool thing about this printer, it has a belt as well as dual steppers for the Z axis. So everything's always synchronized, so you don't get that weird binding action once you've got everything squared up. So I'm going to set this off to the side here. It also comes with a part cooling fan by default, which is handy. Now I lift this part out. And this is a big printer. I might actually end up having to buy a table or build a table to get it, to find a spot for it. There's the base, which is a nice all-in-one unit. So everything's on rollers. It's got some thumb screws. By default, it doesn't come with auto bed leveling, but you can pretty easily add a BL Touch or other bed leveling sensor. So that's what I'm going to be doing. I'm just going to set this behind me. Check the box, make sure there's nothing else in here. No, it looks like it's just styrofoam. So I'm going to just pass the box off camera to Val, or through the camera to Val. Let's get a better look at this bed. Oh. So it's got some nice rubber feet. Looks like NEMA 17 motors. A fan in there. That's all metal chassis. Got a USB-B socket on the side here. SD card and USB right there. And it's got a little TFT touchscreen display similar to the King Rune. Oh, and a cool thing about this printer, I'm going to sit down because I'm starting to get out of breath. A really cool thing about this is it uses inductive sensors for the end stop, so there's no physical contact, nothing to wear down. If you're like me, you might have had the little levers on the micro switches for the King Rune break off, which is kind of a pain in the butt to repair. Not the hardest thing in the world, but still not desirable. So it reduces that. It also has a silicone heater mat powered by mains electricity. So it's a high voltage, high current heater pad. So this thing's supposed to heat up to full temperature in like 10 seconds, which is way faster than the aluminum ones in the King Rune and a lot of other printers. So I grabbed some tools and we moved the camera around so you guys have a better angle. And I'm a little too excited, so I think we're gonna assemble this. Welcome back from our time lapse. In case you haven't noticed, I have changed. It is the same day. After I assembled this, I was a little sweaty and kind of gross, and we got a nice order of Lush products. And yeah, I had a nice shower, used some scrubby, some hair honey, Montalbano, all the good stuff. So I feel clean and new and refreshed and ready to look at this in more detail and less frantic. So I have this plugged in. I got everything wired up. You might have seen that in the time lapse. There is a power switch on the back here next to the connector. So I'm just going to flip that on. We're going to let this power up. And we're going to go through the initial setup procedure, which says here, oh, this is the wrong one. It essentially says it says connect power, turn on machine, on touchscreen, go to tools, heat, preheat, nozzle and bed, make sure they're both heat up. So I'm going to show you guys what I'm doing at the same time. Got to do this stuff in landscape, otherwise Val's going to murder me. So, there we go, video. Okay, so it says tools, heat. So that is right there. Preheat. Heat to preheat the nozzle and bed. Okay, so I guess, okay, so that toggles through. That's the increments, so this is essentially the, oh, is there a light flashing? Oh, I can't see it on my side. We're going to turn this down to 200. See if it does that. So that's the increments. Yep, so it's heating up. Fans on. Let's preheat the bed. Let's set this up to 60. Ooh. 60. Duncan's here, snuggling. So it's starting to heat up. I'm going to take this thing off the bed. It says it should heat up pretty quick because it's mains powered. I'm going to try and avoid touching the bed too much because I just cleaned it when I got back from the shower with some hydrogen peroxide. I don't have any rubbing alcohol in the house. We ran out of that a while back, and with the whole coronavirus scare here in Canada, everyone is pretty much out of stock of it around us, so yeah. Now it says once it does this, we can go to tools and then level. So I'm going to let this heat up rest of the way. Let's see. Oh yeah, it's nice and warm. It's got an insulating mat under there, as you might be able to see. So there's a bit of foam and then foil to kind of keep the heat from going down. And this is what I was talking about before with the special laminated glass. It essentially has this coating on it. It's kind of like a little dimpled texture coating, similar to what you'd see in the sun shield on a car. And apparently what this does is when it's warm, it causes the glass to be somewhat porous. I think the printer's affecting the lights here. I just noticed they're flickering a little bit. So essentially it makes the glass slightly porous, so PLA and other filaments will stick to it like crazy. And it's a little sketchy, the fact that the lights are flickering like crazy here. You probably can't see that because I think the cameras are gonna probably filter that out. But as I was saying, so the glass becomes porous as it heats up. When it cools down, it contracts, and essentially the PLA just pops right off, or the print pops right off. So yeah, let's see, it is up to temperature. It's nice and toasty. Yep, that feels good. So we're going to go back, and we are going to go to level, and we're going to do first, and it's homing. Okay, and now it says to essentially just take a piece of A4 paper, which I have here. I'm going to turn off my camera because there's nothing really too exciting to see here. From this point on, I'm just going to be cycling through the options. So it says to take an A4 piece of paper, loosen these knobs until the paper just grips in there. I remember doing this with CNCs in high school. I did a manufacturing specialization in high school. So, okay, that seems to be good. Let's do second. This moves really quick and super silent compared to the King Room. This uses the TMC 2208s, I want to say, which are Trinamic drivers that allow for, yeah, it seems to be about the same, maybe a little tighter. Oh, that's a little looser. Now I'll loosen that off a little bit. This is way easier than on the King Room because I can actually get my hand under here and do the knobs. But yeah, they're Trinamic drivers, so in theory you could actually do this without end stops because it has a way to check the current. But what they do is they've got a special circuitry inside of them that increases the torque but also quiets the motors so you don't get that weird high-pitched whine. The loudest thing here is the internal fan. So yeah, this is like super quiet. Let's do third. Okay, that. Am I going the wrong way? Yep, I would say I was going the wrong way. Now, ideally, a feeler gauge would be perfect here. If you're familiar with that, it's essentially a little shim that is it's machined to a very specific thickness, and that is perfect for doing this because then you know you've got exactly the right thickness. You don't even have to worry so much about like doing it by feel. Val's falling asleep here. We both used the Lush stuff that we got, and we're both just kind of like super relaxed and chill. So let's do that. That feels about right there. Yeah, that feels good. Okay, and now fourth. And let's do the fourth one. And I'm gonna add a BL Touch probe to this. I actually managed to grab one because I got this on such a good deal for such a good deal on Amazon. I was actually able to afford a BL Touch probe and a probe that I'm gonna try out on the King Rune that I think will, if it works, it's gonna make a lot of people's lives really happy because it's an easily available probe that's pretty cheap, and from what I've heard, it should have really repeatable results without any weirdness. I'm also going to try a mechanical probe, so we're probably going to do like a probe shootout video at some point, so keep an eye out for that. That feels good. Hey Duncan, you excited about the printer? Okay, I'm going to set this here. Duncan doesn't like the printers. He doesn't like things that distract people from him. He's not vain, he just needs all the love in the world. Okay, so it says to try doing it twice to make sure that everything is good, because apparently as you adjust one, it can make the other ones come out of whack, so it says just do like 2 passes with it. Make sure that it's good. Val's falling asleep here between the tech talk and the soothing smells of honey and whatnot. Yeah, it's a good thing that I did another pass on this, and I might have to do this, take this approach with the King Rune, because, yeah, it's clearly not the same levelness, because these were all snug when I did the first pass. And let's see here.
It's the same theory as when you tune guitar strings. When you change your strings, you tune up all your strings, and then you go back and
Because then the neck adjusts, right? Yeah, so if you guys didn't hear what Val said, which I'm sure she probably is going to caption in the video, but just to reiterate, it's like tuning a guitar or anything else that's under tension. As soon as you start applying tension to it, the whole frame essentially adjusts. In this case, it's the aluminum plate under here. So you have to kind of go and readjust it. And in theory, you can keep doing that as many times as you need to get it perfect. But there's a point at which it's like perfect and you might actually make it worse. I've seen that with
there's
printers.
a jazz player, that bass player, that as he's playing,
He's tuning it?
he's tuning
Because as he's playing it, it goes out of tune. Slightly, yeah. I remember someone doing that. I think, was it you? Oh, Papa did it too? Okay, yeah, I'm gonna say that's perfect for now. I'm gonna go back. I'm gonna home everything. It's almost Duncan time. This is a little loose, so I'm gonna probably tension this belt later, but for now, this seems to be perfect. I might set this up for a print, and we might do a time lapse of that. We'll play that by ear. But yeah, I think that about covers it for the unboxing and initial setup. I'm just gonna go through the menu here and see if there's anything cool. Oh, we can change the light. Ooh.
which would be good for nighttime prints.
Yeah.
You would have a lower frequency and less likely to keep you awake.
Apparently, by default, the firmware for this board, it actually, when you're like preheating and just running a print, the color reflects the status of the print. So you can just kind of glance at the printer without having to look at the little panel. I might set this up with Octoprint at some point because we've been thinking about doing some cool time-lapse videos and stuff like that. And we might actually have a video on that in the future as well, so stay tuned. But for now, I'm gonna say everything is groovy groovy. Thank you for watching this video. I hope you found it informative, and let me know if you have one of these printers in the comments and what your thoughts are on it. I spent probably about a good 2 days looking at printers. I got kind of a gift, I guess I could say, of money to invest in my business from some family members. Thank you, Dad. And yeah, I was initially going to get a Prusa Mini, but those don't ship until June, and the business is active now. So I went with this. This seemed like the best option. So let me know what you think in the comments down below. Was this a good investment? And if there's anything you want to see us do with this, we are going to be doing some flexible printing because this is a direct drive extruder based on the Titan by E3D, so it should be perfect for flexibles. And yeah, thanks for watching. Hope you have a great day. If you liked the video, give us a thumbs up. If you aren't subscribed, please subscribe and make sure you ring the bell so you don't miss out on any of our future videos. I think Leonard's cleaning himself in the background there. We post regular content on Mondays and bonus content on Thursdays. And stay tuned for a lot of 3D printing stuff. We're doing a 3D printing your own keyboard set of videos. And we're going to do a few videos on this, a few videos on the King Rune. I've made some modifications to firmware as well as a few other things. I'm kind of spinning my own version of Marlin for it, so yeah, stay tuned for that. Thanks for watching, and bye for now.
Okay, bye. Bye.
Walkie time!